strengthen their defensive areas. And
consumers are suffering, and that, something should be done about this.
Our business correspondent there, Ramzan Kamani.
To strengthen their defensive areas. And Thomas Tuchel came out, during their pre-season tour and was quite forthright about not being happy at having all these targets in yet. And understandably, when there's so much change behind the scenes and you've got a co-owner in effect as your sporting director, it is not going to be as streamlined as usual. And they were very open, Chelsea, in saying that because there's so much upheaval and that, there was the takeover and everything happened so quickly, it being confirmed and then straight bang into the transfer window with them having so much work to do, that it wasn't going to be straightforward or easygoing, and we've seen that. The thing with Chelsea, though, is once they do like a player and they know what the valuation is, there's no messing about. They will go and pay it if the player wants to come. Yeah, completely different approach from as Carve was saying, from Manchester City. We want to bargain, we want to do the usual negotiating. Chelsea is saying, right, we'll give you this much. See what develops. There's a bit of bargaining going on between Newcastle and Leicester for James Maddison. There's development in the last hour or two. Yeah, in the last hour or so, we've been told that Newcastle United have made a second bid for the Leicester City midfielder, James Maddison. We think the fee that they've offered is around £50 million. Newcastle still awaiting a response from Leicester City. Friday, they made their first bid of around £40 million, and we learned on Saturday that that was rejected out of hand. And when asked about the initial bid, the Leicester manager, Brendan Rodgers, said this: he's still very much a player here. You see his performance, you see how happy he is, and he's not a player we want to sell. It's not for me to put valuations on the players, it's not my side, but that might just cover 3/4 of his left leg, that price. He's a top player. We think Leicester are looking for closer to £60 million for James Maddison. That's if they're to consider selling him. OK, so lots of negotiating going on. Carve mentioned Fofana as well. If I'm a Leicester fan, should I be worried? You should. The only Premier League club not to make a senior signing so far, which is quite worrying this late in the window. And when it's not that late, 1st of August. It is late if you're a club that's known for recruiting well, and especially recruiting with the understanding that there might be some big exits. Now, Leicester are saying, for example, they don't want to sell Maddison. Newcastle have obviously been encouraged enough by the player's side to go and put in formal offers. So he wants to leave, or perhaps he's viewing a better contract with 2 years left on his current deal. But when you look at Brendan Rodgers' time at Leicester, their net spend is £25 million. So the fact that they've been able to compete in the top 6, challenge for Champions League places, win silverware, is actually quite remarkable. And I think there's only so long you can overperform. And given the exits that might happen at Leicester, and there's going to be a few big ones, it looks, as the week roll on, I just cannot see how they're expecting to be there and thereabouts, that top 6. But because we don't know what they might be planning, incomings-wise, if they might have. Let's assume there's a spending plan. No? They did say, the chairman did say that, leave it till the end of the window. Things will happen. It's a complex window. Smart, good, well-organised clubs don't leave it till the end of the window, especially when they're going to lose big hitters. Got to say, Leicester have done some pretty smart business over the years. So let's wait and see. Manchester United, this kind of rumbles on a bit. Dharmesh, Anthony, I mean, you've sat in that chair and talked about Anthony for quite a few weeks. Has much moved, in all honesty? Look, from the outset of this transfer window, we knew that a couple of Manchester United's priority positions were central midfield and strengthening the forward line, not necessarily bringing in an out-and-out striker, a number 9, because they're still legislating for the fact that Cristiano Ronaldo will stay at the club, and I'm sure Melissa and Carve will be talking about Ronaldo very, very shortly. But I'm told that a move for Ajax forward Anthony is completely off the agenda unless Ajax reduce their asking price for the player. They're under no pressure to sell Anthony, of course, because he's got 3 years left on his contract. I just wonder whether the dynamic could change
if Antony forces the hand of Ajax and says, I want to leave, whether that would bring the price down, because if Ajax have got a player that doesn't want to be there, then that might have to change their hand somewhat. But as it stands, no pressure at all for Ajax. They don't want to sell. They've got no intention of selling, and Manchester United have effectively said it's completely off the agenda unless that price comes down. They're not interested at the price that they're being quoted. They are, though, looking at a number of other players, and one of them is the RB Salzburg forward Benjamin Sesko. Now, Sesko scored the winning goal for RB Salzburg last Wednesday in a pre-season game against Liverpool. It's a difficult deal to do as well. Rather like the Antony situation, Salzburg under no pressure to sell. They don't want to sell, and they've got a very high valuation for Sesko. And he's 19 years old. He's still got 4 years left on his contract. So a problematic deal to do, but United are looking around for someone to fulfil a position in that forward line with or without Cristiano Ronaldo.
And again, what the player wants might be significant as
exactly.
well.
He could change the dynamic rather like Antony could at Ajax.
Yeah. He's a giant, isn't he? 6'7". So he's a guy that you won't miss if he were to come. What about Frenkie de Jong? I keep hearing slightly pessimistic noises about that transfer.
File this one under saga now. As far as Manchester United are concerned, their position has not changed. They are comfortable with the broad agreement that they have with Barcelona for Frenkie de Jong. It's £72 million, including add-ons. Now, interestingly, what's coming out of the Barcelona end seems to contradict what they're saying and what they actually want to happen. So if you look at their pre-season tour, he didn't start the first 2 games. And when he did come on, he played as a central defender. And at the time, Xavi was asked the question, were you sending a message to Frenkie de Jong by playing him at central defence? And he said no. And all the public utterances from Xavi and from Joan Laporta, the Barcelona president, is we've got no intention of selling him. He's happy here. We want him to stay. But there is an economic adjustment that needs to happen, which is to do with his deferred wages and also a potential salary cut. Now, if you look at their last game, he actually started the 2-0 win over New York Red Bulls in his preferred position of central midfield. But yet, when Xavi was asked a question about Frenkie de Jong, it suddenly moved the other way, because he says, I don't know if he's going to stay here. A lot of things can happen. The fact he played as a central defender in other games was not a sign he was leaving. And yet, when he's playing in his preferred position, Xavi is almost throwing doubt on his future. It's all going to come down to whether he can sort out this deferred wages issue that he's got with Barcelona, whether he's prepared or not to take a wage cut at Barcelona, because Manchester United remain comfortable. They say, we've got a broad agreement with Barcelona. We don't want to get involved in any of the politics that are going on at that football club. £72 million is a broad agreement. We're happy where we are.
OK. You mentioned Cristiano Ronaldo. Lots to cheer over after the last 2 or 3 days. Who wants to start? Carve?
Look, I think the situation is, as far as he's concerned, he still wants to leave. And ultimately, I don't think United can keep a player of his stature against his will. Now, one thing that's been mentioned to me over the last couple of days is that one way this problem could be solved is if Cristiano Ronaldo's contract at Manchester United was terminated. Then he would become a free agent. Manchester United wouldn't have to carry on paying him up to about £500,000 a week that they're paying him, and he would be able to go and find another club, a Champions League club, and he wouldn't be Manchester United's problem anymore. Now, the only issue with that is, from a financial point of view, it doesn't make sense for Manchester United, because obviously they invested a transfer fee when they signed him last summer from Juventus. I think it was up to about 20 million euros. So they would effectively be writing that off. Now, I don't think they're prepared to do that at the moment, but as we progress towards deadline day and United have to decide what they're going to do with a player who doesn't want to be there, maybe then that will become a more interesting option as far as United are concerned. And I think the problem United have got as well is that the clubs who are interested in signing him in a way know that this is a possibility. So they're thinking maybe we should just hold back and wait until he's a free agent and then we would be able to get
So
him
we've got
much
weeks of
cheaper.
brinkmanship ahead, basically.
We could do. And as far as Atletico Madrid are concerned, Diego Simeone definitely wants Cristiano Ronaldo. He wants him. I think Cristiano Ronaldo is willing to go there, yes. A section of their fans don't want him at the club.
There'd be uproar, wouldn't there, amongst the section?
I think once he goes there and he starts scoring goals, I think maybe that uproar would die down. But from United's point of view, I think it just leaves a bad taste in the mouth that it's going to end up the way it has ended.
Well, it also leaves a lot of uncertainty, Mr. for Erik ten Hag. Here you are, you're a new man at a new club, trying to plan a season. You don't know what's happening with your main man.
Yeah, and it was actually quite surprising to see how quickly Erik ten Hag gained control of Manchester United, and watching them during pre-season, he was completely in charge of the little and large details. But that was perhaps made easy by the fact that Cristiano Ronaldo's absence, he dealt with it so well. For a player who's speaking about legacy and extending his Champions League
He'd have to take a massive pay cut, wouldn't he?
But leave alone the pay cut, what Champions League legacy? Like, what are they giving you by group games?
OK, one of the great things about the transfer show at this time of the year is that you don't quite know what's going to happen next. Darmish, you've got something for us, and I genuinely don't know what it is. It better be good.
Yeah, no, I think this one's been around in the past 24 hours or so. It's just been confirmed to me that Arthur Masuaku of West Ham United, he's close to joining Besiktas on a season-long loan. So Besiktas close to agreeing a loan deal for the season for the West Ham defender Arthur Masuaku. Could be good business for both West Ham and the player. It looks like his game time would be limited at West Ham United, but also he's got a contract until 2024 with a 2-year option from the club and a 2-year option from the player. So if he was to spend a season on loan and West Ham United wanted to sell him in the summer and he performs well for Besiktas for the season, then his value would stay up and they'd be able to get a good transfer fee for him next summer. So it looks like Matsuaku could be on his way to Besiktas. That one, I'm told, is getting close.
Thanks very much for that, Darmish. Stay with us. Coming up next, news from all 20 Premier League clubs, and a reminder from 6 tonight. Plenty more from the Lionesses as they celebrate their England Euro 2022 triumph with the fans in central London.
Together, we can change it.
After much negotiation, all parties have agreed on the deal.
New Lynx Epic Fresh Body Wash. Smell and feel irresistibly fresh.
Everyone has
Could be a
Imagine a play.
Every move enables more. See how activity can help you manage your health condition. Visit weareundefeatable.co.uk.
Here in Germany, we know you love your football. Taktik, Aufstellung, Gegenpressing. And we know you love noise. Leidenschaft. Chaos. Begeisterung. Ja! Door.
And we know you love us really.
The new Bundesliga season, live on Sky Sports.
Imagine a place where magic is no longer an illusion.
I love magic.
Sky Cinema Wizarding World Collection. Available now.
Boxing. The bell's about to... That's mine.
Yeah, welcome back to the Transfer Show.
would make him a free agent. Marseille amongst those interested. Melissa, Danesh, Carvan, all back at 7 for a full hour of transfer news and analysis. And coming up next on Sky Sports News, terrific celebrations today for England's Euro winners. We'll hear from lots of them in a couple of minutes.
Welcome back. Today's big game should be a tasty encounter. Absolutely, Parker. Two well-fancied sides, both prepped and ready for action. A real treat. Sky Sports News, delivered to you by Pizza Hut Delivery.
Honestly,
clean and a calming.
So
Clicks on
An explosion has decimated a major hospital.
I'm sorry I couldn't save you.
We built this place to fight terror with terror.
First time I heard a hatchet, 3 station agents turned up dead.
We got him, Abby.
Lockdown executed.
That is the world's most dangerous man, and no one knows more about him than I do. The only thing that got me through this was knowing that I was going to be the one to find you.
Do not scratch your eyes. You are really seeing the most extraordinary finish here.
And welcome back. Now, horse racing. How's it going? The going's good. The riders are lining up side by side. Do you have a favorite? They're all winners. Sky Sports News, delivered to you by Pizza Hut Delivery.
In the party mood, England celebrate the achievement of a lifetime. For Serena Beekman, the focus moves to next year's World Cup. The FA want to extend her deal beyond 2025.